Hi, my name is Silantro, and welcome to the Road of the Phoenix. So, this is going to be a very long guide, a very long video. So, I will put timestamps in the description so you can skip to the part on what you need the most. So, I will explain the Road of the Phoenix first, and then we'll proceed. Now, the Road of the Phoenix is a concept of mine wherein you will have stops. Now, for each stop, we will focus on improving yourself or your gameplay before we go to the next stop until you reach the end of the road or your destination, which is the Xiaoyu that you always wanted to be. Now, I hope at the end of this video that you will have an understanding on how your Xiaoyu will operate. It's very important for you to have your own identity as a Xiaoyu player. If, for example, I have my friends Teddy and Seno beside me, we are at some room, and you have a screen there, and there's Xiaoyu mirror match going on, you know that it's Teddy playing, you know that it's me playing, and you will know if it's Seno playing. That's your goal. You need to be a strong and unique Xiaoyu player. Now, this is the roadmap. So we have the beginner guide, rank color mindset, poke playstyle, whiff punishment, sense mastery, and so on. Now, I'll explain each one. First, we have the beginner guide. I was not planning on doing a beginner guide because there are a lot out there already, but the commenter was really persuasive, and it's like, okay, let me do it. So, if you found this Road of the Phoenix helpful, thank him because he basically inspired me to do this video. So, first is the beginner guide. Now, how I will approach the beginner guide is I will be just going through all of the moves like quickly on and how I use it. And I won't force you to do it on how I use it. It's just that I want you to see how I use them in a fight. Okay? Now, for the beginner guide, it's kind of a speed run. I won't be showing any clips, but we will go through the move list. Now, after the beginner guide, we will go to the rank color mindset. If you have someone on Discord and you have a conversation and it's like, hey, I need help with Xiaoyu. Sometimes me or somebody else asks if what rank are you? And that's because we want to have intel on what rank you are so we can give you advice with your current mindset with your rank. Now, the next is the poke play style. I will teach you how to use your pokes in a fight. So you don't need to rely on your launchers, your combos, or your heat, and why poking is important in Tekken. Now, for whiff punishment, this will be about whiff baiting, whiff creation, and how to punish whiffs by your enemy. So next is the stance mastery. Now, this is about knowing what to do with Rain Dance, Art of Phoenix, Neutral, and your Hypnotist. It's very important that you will have this stable flow when you are using Xiaoyu as your character in game. Now, next is the wall carry guide. As you can see, there is the combo optimization and the wall carry guide, and they are separate because they are two completely different things, at least for me. So, we will focus on how you can carry your enemy to the wall, and for the combo optimization, it's more about how do you convert this into a combo? How can you kill the enemy with this damage? Or what are the options? Now, after that will be the Okizeme guide. Now, the Okizeme guide is not a setup guide. I will be showing some setups sometimes, but I won't be teaching you setups. It's more of like how can you make your own setup, or how can you use your moves as an Oki to an enemy with or without a wall. Now, after you learned everything and it blended all together in your mind and in your gameplay, you need to learn how to master your Xiaoyu. You won't have any problems if you're AOP on this side. If, for example, you accidentally float the enemy, you know what to do. That's kind of the glimpse that you are mastering Xiaoyu. Now, if someone asks me, Cilantro, I'm a beginner with Xiaoyu, what do you think I should learn first? Or anything like that. My answer would be Xiaoyu is a very fun character to use, but very irritating to fight against. Xiaoyu needs dedication in learning her and the matchups in Tekken, but at the end, it will feel rewarding when your setups are working, when your combos are working, when your evasiveness is working. It will always feel like you did something right. I know there will be people saying that it's all luck or anything. I will admit that sometimes that is the case with Xiaoyu, but that's what makes her special as a character. She is a very dangerous yet risky character. But the thing with Xiaoyu is, if all of those are not working, then that's when she will struggle. If your opponent knows that you're going to AOP in this situation, then you're going to be in trouble. Now, the focus of this entire video is for you to be able to get past that. There is a line in Art of War by Sun Tzu: a man's strengths flow from the same well as his weaknesses. In this video, we will be tackling her weaknesses and how you can make it your strengths as much as possible. There's no 100% win with this game, okay? But I want you to be able to open your mind with your options. 1-2-1 is safe on block. You can delay the third hit. If the second hit is a counter hit, then your third hit will be guaranteed. Your enemy will be hit by the third hit if they decided to go for a 10 hit frame or above. If your opponent is back turned and you hit them with a tornado or a heat burst, you can use 1-2-1 to use the wall as a splat. This has 3 transitions. If you want to go to RDS, simply tap 1 down 2. If you don't want to go to RDS, hold your down. If you want to go to Hypnotist, then go for your 1 down 2 and then hold your back. If your enemy wants to jab check you, then you could try your Hypnotist 1+2 to hip parry the jab. But take note, this has a very strict timing. Additionally, you can use your Hypnotist B1+3 to parry kicks and punches. If you hit the enemy back turned, then go for your RDS 4 as it will be guaranteed as long as the enemy doesn't have a back turn parry. When they try to attack, then they will be launched facing you. This is also delayable. If the second hit is a counter hit, then your RDS B3 will be guaranteed. Use this as a very safe combo filler. If you hit the enemy at this angle, then you could try your RDS T4 as they will prioritize to realign themselves to face you. This is guaranteed on back turn. If the second hit is a counter hit, then your 1+2 will also be guaranteed. Similar to 1 down 2, you can do this. Do 2 down forward 1 if you want to be in the neutral state. If you see your opponent whiffing from afar, then this is actually a good whiff punisher. This is also a good wall carry after a hip 3+4. The angle on where you will hit standing 3 will determine the angle of your enemy on knockdown. On block, this is safer than 1 down 2, 1+2. This is a good combo ender if you need a floor break or a floor blast. This is a good keep out move because of the range. This is also a low crush. Transition to AOP by holding down. but you will be in the standing state if you don't. Use this as a follow-up for these moves. This will put your enemy in the crouching state, both on hit and on block. The first two hits are jailing, so they can't duck. Transition to Hypnotist by holding back. This is a good wall carry. If you don't have heat, then F2-1 Hypnotist 2 would be your more reliable combo ender at the wall. You can also use the full string, but delaying the third hit would deal more damage. If you do the full string and they decided to attack, then it will become a launch on counter hit. This is a good wall carry. On hit, this will become an instant tornado. If they try to attack, then they will get interrupted by the third hit. But take note that this is very unsafe on block. Use this as a floor break. Use the full string if your F3-1 misses in a combo. This is a good keep out move. This is a homing move. If you hit the enemy, then your F1+2 or your B4-1 will be guaranteed. This move is very fast, but very unsafe, so use it with moments where you will have a good read that the enemy will attack you. You will be in the wild standing state after the animation of the first input. Transition to AOP by holding down. This has a wall stagger that will increase your plus advantage. This move is a high crush. Hold your DF if you want to stay in the neutral state. If you hit the enemy on back turn, then use your RDS4. This has a huge delay window. And it's guaranteed if you hit the enemy with the first hit. This one is one of the farthest wall carries for Xiaoyu, but it is very risky. Don't press anything if you want to be in the neutral state. Hold down if you want to go to AOP. Hold B if you want to cancel, but this will automatically put you in the RDS state. This is an instant tornado. This has good tracking on both sides. This has so many active frames that your plus or your minus advantage will depend on the distance and the active frame that your D1 will hit. This can absorb most power crushes, but hold your down to have a more guaranteed whiff. Transition to AOP by holding down. This is a great keep out tool because of the range. This will launch your enemy sideways. This is kind of like a slower sidestep, but it will give you more distance with the enemy. With the right distance, this will deal 5 more damage because of the clean effect. This has a great pushback on block. This will put your enemy in the crouching state on hit and on block. On counter hit, you will have a guardable advantage of plus 18, but they won't be in the crouching state. This will flip your enemy like a pancake. You will go into RDS on hit or on block, and you can't control it. This will have a plus 2 advantage on hit or on block. On counter hit, you will have a plus 14 advantage, and my suggestions would be DF2-3 and B4-1 as a follow-up. You can float your enemies with moves like this. On regular hit, this will push your enemies so far that you can use it for your Whiff Punishment. This will put your enemy on crouch, on regular hit, and on block. On counter hit, this will have a plus 14 advantage, and my suggestions would also be B4-1 or DF2-3. This is a great interruption tool when you're getting pressure. Hold back if you still want to be in the neutral state. This move is very delayable, but you will lose its natural combo properties. If the second hit is a counter hit, then you can launch your enemy. Whether you input one input or both inputs, you will be in the rain dance stance. Use this for high launching moves. On block, you will deal chip damage and you'll get a plus 3 advantage. You'll be in the rain dance stance after this. On counter hit, this will knock down your enemy facing down. On regular hit, your opponent will be in the crouching state. This is a very unsafe heat engager, but it will track on the left side. With the right angle, you can still float your enemy a little bit, and you can potentially go for a wall combo. This has great tracking both on the left and on the right side. This is one of the best whiff punishers in the game. You'll be in the AOP stance whether you like it or not. This is also a wall carry, but I don't recommend it. This will hit your opponents on the ground as long as they're not moving. This is my favorite counter for running moves. If you don't want your enemy to spring kick, then you can use this to flip them so they can't do the spring kick. If you hit the enemy with FF1D, you will have a plus 13 advantage, and then your AOP 4 or your AOP 2-1 will be guaranteed. On counter hit, for the first or second hit, this will become a natural combo until the end. You can transition to RDS by holding back, but you will be at so minus, so use it sparingly. The third hit is delayable. On hit or on block, this will put your enemy in the crouching state. If you cancel this, you will be in the while standing state. This hits your opponents on the ground and they will be flipped like a pancake. This can spike your enemy. If you still want to be in a neutral state, then hold your forward. If not, then don't do that. On block, they will still be standing, but on hit, they will be in the crouching state. This is a counter hit launcher. This can low crush. This is her hop kick, but it's really slow at 16 frames, but it's still a low crush. This is a very short orbital. If you still want to go in the standing state, then go for UF4. Hold down your D if you want to be in a crouching state. Hold down your D a little bit, then release, and then you will be in the while standing state. And lastly, go for your D1 plus 2 if you want to go to the Phoenix state. This is a counter hit launcher. And it's also a low crush. If you whiff this move and the opponent is on back turn, you will still be in the RDS state. It's a low crush. On block, you will be in the RDS state, but if not, then you will still be facing in the neutral position. This is a very generic but strong launcher. It's kind of slow, so feel when you want to use it. If you hit your enemy with FF1D, you will have a plus 13 advantage, making your AUP 4 or your AUP 2-1 guaranteed. FF1-3 is very safe on block, it's only -1, so go for your faster moves if you feel that your opponent will attack you. FF1-3 is a natural combo, but FF1-4 is not. Mix this up with FF1-4 if you know that the enemy can duck your FF1-3. This is a natural combo. It will lose its natural combo property if you delay the second hit. You can transition to RDS by holding B. The first hit is a good combo filler. This will give you a plus 12 guardable advantage on counter hit. This will put you to RDS no matter what you do. On counter hit, this will become a launcher. If it collides with the enemy, you will be in the hip stance. You can't do anything about it. But if it whiffs, you won't be in the hip stance. Without a wall, this will give you a plus 9 advantage on block. But with a wall, it will give you a plus 15. This is a natural combo, but if you delay the second hit, the opponent can block it. You can do the same thing in while standing. If the second hit is a counter hit, it will become a launcher. This will spike the enemy if you use it in a combo. Use this to get out of big moves. You can also dodge rage arts with this move. This will put you to AOP no matter what you do. This has great tracking on your enemy's left. This is a low crush. It can't be parried because it's airborne. This can low crush. This can hide some voice lines. If you hit the enemy and it's near the wall, it will become a splat. This is a natural combo. Transition to neutral by holding forward. If it's a counter hit, it will launch the enemy. If you charge it, you don't need the counter hit for a while standing too. It's a good move to float semi-grounded enemies. When you use the charge up version, it can't be parried. If you hit the enemy on back turn, use RDS 4. This is plus 3 on block. Launcher on counter hit. On regular hit, it will make the opponent crouch. When you hit them crouching, they will be knocked down, facing down. This move has lots of pushback on block. This is a great pickup for enemies on the ground. Delay the fourth hit if you want a potential launch. Enter hip by holding B. This is guaranteed on certain angles and situations. Transition to RDS by holding DF either after pressing the first or the second input. Transition to AUP with the first hit. Transition to while standing with the second hit. This is an evasive tool and it's best for linear moves. This is a launcher on counter hit. This will pancake flip your enemy while on the ground. You will be in while standing after this. This is a natural combo on hit. If the first hit is a counter hit, you can follow it up with a combo. You can delay the third hit. This will be guaranteed with back-turned enemies. Instead of 4, hold your B to transition to Hypnotist. This is a natural combo. Transition to Phoenix by holding her down. This can absorb and whip most power crushes. This looks like a low hit, but it's actually a mid. This can hit grounded opponents. On counter hit, you can follow it up with some moves. This will hit grounded opponents. This is a natural combo. It's hit confirmable, and that means that you can still delay the second hit and it will still be a natural combo. On Heat Dash, this can be a launcher. This move has a very good range. This is also hit confirmable like RDS 1+2 4. This is a low crush move. This is what you call a Tsubaki, and it will parry your enemy's punches, but it has a very strict timing. If you're an RDS, you can use this to Tsubaki or parry the enemy's Heat Burst as long as it is a punch type Heat Burst. This is one of the best high crushes in the game, and it can potentially mid crush. This can hit grounded opponents. This is a natural combo if it is a counter hit. If the second hit is a counter hit, then it will toss your enemy and they will be on back turn. This is delayable and it is also hit confirmable. If you hit the enemy on back turn, they will face forward to you after the tornado. Just like DB3, on counter hit you will have a +14 advantage. Transition to Phoenix by not doing anything after RDS UF1. Transition to crouching by holding down. Transition to while standing by holding down and then releasing it. If the angle is good, then AOP 4 is guaranteed. With the perfect angle and distance, this will become an unbreakable throw. Block advantage on this one will depend on how many steps you do before hitting your 2. On the wall with a 3-step hip 2 on block, your enemy will stagger on the wall and then you'll have a +24 advantage. You can make a combo after a Heat Dash hip 2. With the 1-step hip 3, it will be just a homing low and you won't be in the while standing state. With 2 steps, it will become a knockdown sweep. With 3 steps, this will become a sneak edge but it won't tornado. This will just knock down the enemy on hit. On a wall, this will become a wall splat. This is her tail spin filler with combos. This can be used to dodge rage arts. If you want to go to RDS, then hold your back. As of the moment, this is a guaranteed unblockable for Jack during combos. Cancel this one by tapping back twice. This is a natural combo. The second hit is very delayable, but it will lose its natural combo property. Transition to Hypnotist by holding back, but you need to do this instantly. This is also a natural combo. This can also be delayed so much, but it will lose its natural combo property. The second hit will hit the opponent on the ground. This is a natural combo. The second hit is super delayable, but it will lose its natural combo property if you delay it too much. Transition to RDS by holding back. On heat dash, you can't combo out of it. On counter hit, this is Silantro. This will hit the opponent on the ground. This is a great counter if your opponent tries to spring kick you. On counter hit, this is Silantro. If you hit the enemy, you will be in the while standing state. If you whiff it, you will drop to the ground. Just input 1 F4 if you still want to go to Phoenix, otherwise you will be in the while standing state. This will pancake flip your enemy. While on the roll, you will continue to high crush your enemy's high moves. Transition to while standing by ending the roll. Input neutral and then hold DP to be in the full crouch state. Hold your down while the roll is ongoing if you want to go to Phoenix. This will pancake flip your enemy. On counter hit, this will become an unbreakable throw and it can floor break. The direction of the first hit will depend on what angle you are going to input. This will put you to AOP no matter what you do. The advantage of the second hit will depend if it's a regular hit or a counter hit. For one flower, transition to while standing by not doing anything. Transition to full crouch by doing neutral and then holding DB. Transition to RDS by holding back. Transition to AOP by holding down. For two flowers, you can only do the while standing transition and the full crouch transition. This will float the enemy if they try to spring kick. This is your tailspin with AOP. Similar to AOP UF3, the angle of this move will depend on the angle that you input. Transition to Phoenix by holding down. Similar to the earlier moves, the angle of this move will depend on the angle that you input. And also this one. Now that you have an understanding on what most of her moves are doing, then I want you to learn about startup frames. Now each move has a startup frame. You can see that number or metric at the left of your screen. So for example, F1 plus 2 is at 12 starter frames. So that means that the move will come out at 12 frames. So if I do B4 1, or let's just do B4, it's 13 frames. And it's very important that you learn your startup frames first before you go to block punishment. If you know your startup frames, then you will have a lesser time learning about block punishment. I had a video back then with Xiaoyu's moves sorted by starter frames. I will put it inside this video and edit it so you don't have to go to another video, okay? Now let's have a little game. I will be showing a move thrice. And then after the third hit, I will be showing or telling you the starter frame for it. Now what I want you to do is, while I'm doing the attacks, you need to have your answer ready on your mind. Whether it's 15 frames, 16 frames, whatever, you need to know your starter frames. So let's try one. The starter frames for 1 down 2 is 10 frames. Did you get that right? Next move. That move has a 14 frame starter frame. Next one. This move has an 18 frame starter frame. Next one. This is a 15 frame starter frame. So if you got everything right, then you can proceed to the next one. If you have some mistakes here and there, I suggest that you watch the previous segment of this video so that you will learn your starter frames. Now that you know your starter frames, then it will be easy for you to study your block punishment. Now, what is block punishment? If, for example, your opponent does a move that is very unsafe, that move is F1 plus 2, and then your opponent will be at minus 16. You will be at plus 16. So that means that most of the moves, 16 frames and below, will be considered as a punish. They can't block, they can't counter it, they can't parry it. Let's perform some moves that are 16 frames and below as a form of punishment for the enemy's F1 plus 2. So that was UF3, and that's a 16 frame launcher. And since we are at plus 16, then that's guaranteed. So let's try another move. That's B1 plus 2, and that's a 15 frame startup move, and it's also guaranteed. Let's try another move. That's standing 3, and that's a 14 frame startup move. Let's try another move. So that's B4 1, and it's a 13 frame one. So I won't be showing all of the moves that you can punish that with, but I want you to grasp the concept of it. Now, learning your block punishment in this game will actually make you enjoy the game, make you enjoy your character, make you mash not so much. Now let's try this move. Now that's a plus 16 advantage on your side, and that was Xiaoyu's RDS 3 plus 4. Now let's try to punish that with UF3. You can't. Because even if you are at plus 16 and your move UF3 has a 16 frame launcher, it won't hit because of what we call a pushback. And you can see the distance that the RDS 3 plus 4 gave you. So that means that your moves like UF3 and B1 plus 2 won't reach Xiaoyu. then you know that you have other moves that are 14 frames. Now let's try to punish the RDS 3 plus 4. There you go. So Raccoon Swing or FF3 is a 14 frame startup move, and it features a little bit of dash, right? So it actually reached Xiaoyu. So it doesn't mean that you have a plus 16 advantage that you can do anything with your opponent. There are things like pushback, there are things like distance, there are things like angle. So I just want you to know that because I want you to be safe with regards to your punishes. Now to end this segment, I will be showing you all of the key punishers for Xiaoyu. Now your 10 frame punisher is your jab variations. Your 11 frame punishers are your magic 4 and your deck jab, which is down 2. Now if your opponent made you crouch and you block something like that, then you have a different block punishment game. So, for example, I went to crouch with this one. My 11 frame punisher would be while standing 4. But my standing punisher is 4. Now sadly, we don't have a 10 frame while standing or crouching punisher. So let's just proceed. Your 12 frame punisher is F1 plus 2. On crouching, it's while standing 1-4. Your 13 frame punisher is B4 1. And your while standing or crouching punisher is while standing 2. Your 14 frame punisher on standing, there are a lot of ways that you can do it. If you want to poke, then go for DF1. If you want your opponent away from you, then go for DF2-3. If you want a simple low poke, then go for D3. If you want a launcher, then go for your standing 3. Now, on while standing and on crouch, then you will have your while standing 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. On 15 frames, you have B1 plus 2. On crouching or while standing, you could go for your full crouch 3. Now for 16 frames, you only have your UF3. Sorry. There you go. Now on low wall stagger, I suggest that you do your while standing 2 hold or your UB3. Now the next one is knowing your moves on block. On block. Now what I want you to do or try out is go to practice mode, set your opponent to block all, and then go to your move list. Go to the first move, which is a bayonet. Press your 2, and then start doing your moves per input. And start testing out your moves on input. So for example, bayonet is 1-2. Then do just the jab. And then do your 1-2 fully. Okay? So now, you don't need to write this down, but I want you to visualize what is happening with your opponent on block. So let's try another move. I will find one. So for example, this move, I will go with the jab. That's +1. I would go for the down 2, which is -3. With the last string, oh, okay, I am at -12 after that. Now let's proceed to another move. Let's go for this one. This one is -7. But the string earlier is at -12. Let's have a last example. So this one has a transition, right? So if it has a transition, then it will have a different advantage or disadvantage on hit and on block. So for example, let's just do 3 plus 4. We are at -1. But if we transition to AOP, we will be at 0. So let's find another transition. So let's do the routine again. Let's do one move. We are at -5 with F2. F2 1. We will be at -6. Now let's try the full string. we will be at minus 13. Now this move has a transition. Let's try F2-1 hold back. So we will be in the hypnotist stance, and then we will be having a 0 frame advantage slash disadvantage. We will just be 0. But it doesn't mean that you're safe because you are in the stance, right? Now let's try this one. This is the snake edge. Now let's try Xiaoyu's snake edge, which is DF3. Now just test this out on block. You will be at minus 23. Like I said earlier, if you know your starter frames, then you know what's going to be the punisher for that. So I will record the Xiaoyu doing that. You saw that we are at crouch or while standing. So what could be the best punisher for that? If you want a launch, then go for your UB3 or your while standing 2 hold. There you go. So if you know your moves that put you on minus, then you will learn that, okay, if I do this move and the opponent blocks it, they can launch me or punish me. So it's very important that you go through this practice in order for you to learn what are your safe moves. Now you can go to any website that has frame data on, but like I said earlier, it's better if you can visualize it. Now to make this segment unique, I will be showing you the advantage of knowing that. So what I will do is I will put the enemy on block, all, and then she will punish me with B1 plus 2. So this is what is going to happen. I will do a jab. The Xiaoyu will block it. But take note that we will be in the +1 advantage. So if the Xiaoyu will do B1 plus 2 after that, which is a 15 frame startup move, and then we do the same thing, let's see what happens. I got first. Why is that? That's because of my +1 advantage on block with that jab. We did the same move, but her B1 plus 2 came out at 16 frames, while my B1 plus 2 came out at 14 frames. You can see the concept of this one. So it's the same thing with your F4, because it will give you that +1 advantage. Now after that, of course, you need to learn on hit. So do the same thing, but this time with the opponent on standing and not set. Okay, so this one will give you +8, this will give you +7. So just go through the move list again. I know it gets repetitive, but this is for you. This is for your Xiaoyu, so please do it for your sake. Now lastly, do the same thing, but with your player counter on. Let's go for your FF 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. Let's find that. Okay, it's this one. So, again with the routine, 1 hit first, +5, 2 hits, +7. Now, let's try with just the second input. That is the only thing that will hit. It will become a launcher. So, knowing the properties of your moves on hit, on block, and on counter hit will actually make you a better Xiaoyu since you know your options, right? So for example, we set the counter hit on shuffle. You know in game that on counter hit, it will become a launcher. On regular hit, it's just a poke. And then you know as well that you will be at -2 with that move. Again and again and again. I know it's repetitive, but as a beginner to Xiaoyu, you need to know these. Okay? Now let's go over with her heat system. So first, she will have access to 4 new moves. So FF12, which will consume heat. F212, that also consumes heat. Now she has a front-facing heat smash and an RDS heat smash. for the first move, which is FF12, you will be in RDS if you just do the move. But if you hold your back forward or you're up, you will be in the front facing position, basically. So it's the same thing with F212. I didn't press anything after F212, but if I press back, U, or my forward, then I will be front facing. Now the front facing heat smash on regular hit will become this like cinematic, and you can't do anything with it. You can do the same thing with the first two moves. So if you didn't do anything, you will be in the RDS position. But if you hold your back, U or your F, then you will be in the front facing. Now with the RDS heat smash, on hit, you will have a very good advantage. And you can choose to go to the hypnotist stance or the front-facing stance. Now on block, you can choose to do the same thing and you will be at plus 19. And without the transition, then you will be at plus 4. Now while you are in heat, your hip 2, hip 3, and hip 2 plus 3 will be powered up. That means that they will have an additional step, so you can have access to their benefits. So for example, your hip 3 on one step will just be a low homing sweep, but on 2 steps, it will become a knockdown sweep. But with the heat, I just need 1 step, and it will be a 2-step hip 3. So that's your whole game. If you watch the earlier segments of the video, you know what I mean on what to do with this. Now, the ways to recover heat is to just plainly go to hypnotist forever. So that means that if, for example, I do this, I can just do that or this and recover my heat. And if you do a hip parry, you can actually recover some of your heat, but not that much. But it's still important. Now, take note that with the hip parry, you will be at 1 step even if with the heat. Take note that if you do the hip parry and with the heat, that it will start at the 1 step for some reason. I don't know why. So you actually need to do a 3rd step, so it will be a sweep. Okay? To end the beginner guide, here is HawthornIce that I invited to have a small talk, and we are going to be talking about beginner-friendly stuff. So I hope you listen to her advice. It's so good, and I hope you can take inspiration from her. So here it goes. Hello.
Hi, Silantro.
Hi, HawthornIce. I have HawthornIce here, and she is a Twitch streamer and plays Xiaoyu. And so I decided to invite her with a small talk because this segment features a guide on what to do with Xiaoyu as a beginner. So I want the input of a real life beginner, right? So it's her first Tekken game, and Xiaoyu is her first character. I want to ask some questions about beginner stuff. So as a beginner in Tekken 8, why did you pick Xiaoyu? Was it like a blind pick, or do you want to pick her ever since? What's the deep story behind picking her?
Yeah, so I always wanted to pick Xiaoyu because I saw her, back in Tekken 4. And we have the same name. We're both called Ling, so it just always had to be her.
I see, and you finally had a chance to play as her. So
Yeah, finally.
okay, so since this is your first Tekken game and your first character, I'm actually an avid viewer of her. I still lurk a lot, but I still message here and there, and we see her growth from beginner to this intermediate Xiaoyu, basically. So now, from beginner to intermediate, what are or were the strategies and habits that you practiced, and what are you currently practicing to improve your gameplay right now?
So I guess like habits that you'll see me do when I stream to try and improve are like warming up first with some drills. So I've got like generic ones, so training to react to slow lows, so snake edges. I'm going to try not to use too much jargon. Throw break drills as well, really important, and other sort of character matchup specific ones. So I'll try and do that at the start of every session, and also like making sure that I watch replays. So I can learn about where I can improve and more about the matchup. So like moves you can duck, punishes, and also like character specific things too. For example, like Steve, you'll notice a lot of the time in my ranks anyway, he'll go over here at the round start
Mhm.
to try and bait you into doing something, and then he'll go for a massive launcher. So kind of building that muscle. Um, I guess like mental habits wise, just becoming more comfy and less upset at like losses and looking at it more as a learning opportunity, I think is super important. I think even you, Silantro, you said a phrase that really helps you is like, I'll get it next time or I'll do it next time. And I think that's really great. And I've started using that myself. For example, like if I miss a punish, drop a combo in a game, or lose a game, I think of that and it just helps me really focus on the next sort of interaction or the next round, especially if you're playing ranked. You also asked about my goals and sort of things I'm working on. So
Mhm.
intermediate now, so I'm thinking about like getting my wall carry consistently because that's so important for Xiao Yu, which we'll talk about later. Doing more safe pokes to get in, safely evading, and also using keep out moves when I've got the life lead. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment.
Okay, and we are seeing you online doing all of that in your stream, and you are attending online tournaments also as well, right?
Yeah, a couple here and there. Yeah, yeah.
If you guys don't know, she also attended to a tournament. So can you please share us how was your first tournament and what's your advice for people getting scared to attend one? Because you are a beginner and it's like you were brave enough to attend one, and all of us were hyped in the Discord community, by the way. So she was like very brave. So please just tell us about your experience.
Yeah, I just really wanted to get stuck into the scene. So I was, I think, high red at the time. So I was Tenryu, I think, or Shinryu, something like that. So my first tournament person was this year in August, and it was VS Fighting in the UK. I ended up going 1-2. So I won my first game and lost my second two. And I remember really clearly losing my third and final game to a Jin player. And it went to final round both rounds. And I was really upset after that. Um, but after some tears, I basically put myself back up and went into the casuals setup area and played loads of casuals, met a bunch of cool people who I'm still some of them in touch with. And what surprised me really the most is how willing people are to explain the matchup if it's clear you're struggling or don't know it.
Mhm.
I learned so much from them. And my biggest takeaway actually from the weekend was just don't whiff. Because
Yes.
I played my second tournament game, always good advice, don't whiff. I played my second tourney game against a pro player, and that was the advice that he gave me. I went up to him afterwards when I saw him at the vending machine, and I was like, "Do you have any advice for me?" And I came back home, implemented that, and it was enough to get me out of Tenryu and into purple.
Okay, and actually, those kinds of players are what drives the community to become, I say, kinder. And we are here to help one another. And even though Tekken 8 is a very competitive game, all of us are trying to help each other. Just be nice, right? So,
Yeah.
so you got an advice from a pro player. Now let's try. How about, let's say if ever someone asks you, "Hey, HawthornIce, any advice on picking Xiaoyu?" Let's say it's your nephew or niece, whoever. What? Yeah, it could be anyone, right? So
Right.
what would be your introduction statement for her, quote unquote introduction? Like how would you describe
Mm.
Xiaoyu as a character before and what would make them pick her, basically.
Yeah. So I would just say, look, if you look at the roster, just pick Xiaoyu if you like how she looks. Like you'll hear a lot of people say, "Oh, she's hard to learn," or she doesn't play like a normal Tekken character." I would say don't let that put you off, because you'll only be motivated to learn if you're enjoying yourself, right? I feel
Yes.
like she's one of the few characters which lets you express yourself fully in your playstyle. I don't think you have as much creativity with any of the, well, I mean, some of the more stance based ones, maybe, but Xiao Yu, I feel, no Xiao Yu plays the same. If you watch different Xiao Yus, everyone's got their own unique style. You can go crazy with stances, or you can be more fundamental, or be a mix of the two. Um, in my opinion, I think she really excels at creating whiff punish opportunities, so she can really bait other people into making mistakes, and then you get big damage and rewards off that. So I think to summarize what Xiaoyu's like, she's a super creative character. She's got a lot of movement options. She's got a really strong and fun heat game. And to echo what Silantro you were saying earlier, there's a really, really kind community behind her.
Just be nice to us. So don't provoke us to, to say stuff. So it's like it's really hard for the community to handle that, to be honest. So,
Mm.
well, we are talking about community. So what's your message to the beginners of, let's say, Tekken and Shayo players watching this segment?
I would say picking Xiaoyu is not going to be the easiest. It is going to be a tough journey, and I've definitely felt that. It will definitely take you some time to get comfy with her stances, transitions, and options out of the stances. Not to mention fully utilizing her movement using them. I would say leave that till a bit later. I would stick at it. And when you start to see your opponent getting mixed up by you and evaded, that's when the fun will begin and you'll be hooked on Xiaoyu forever.
Yes.
Um, when that happens, though, also to echo what you said, Cilantro, earlier, you will occasionally get some hate for it, DMs, online, Twitter, and we see this reflected in a lot of discourse about AOP evasion, how broken she is, etc. To be honest, I know, we all love a bit of drama, but my advice, as well as that of other prominent Xiaoyu mains out there, including Mr. Croft, who, we all respect in the Xiaoyu community, is to ignore it, and just focus on improving our own game. Just don't interact. Just learn our game, get better at Xiaoyu. So in terms of personal advice for beginners, I would say start, well, different people have different advice, but personally, I would start from fundamentals before learning setups and dancing. So I would say, just like you would with any other character, learn your combos out the main launchers, wall carry, good pokes, and keep out. And something really important with Xiaoyu, I would say, is what to do in heat at the wall. That's really important. We have so many great teachers and content creators in our Xiaoyu community. So I would say to beginners, make sure you take full advantage of all those resources out there, namely YouTube, Discord, Twitter. I would be diligent and make notes in whatever format you find helpful. So I used to have a PowerPoint presentation. I now use Microsoft OneNote.
Mhm.
And really do try and watch your replays with the frame advantage display on, because that's how I learn punishes, because punish equals free damage. There's no excuse not to do that now, because you can go straight from a game to the replay with the latest patch. So that would be my top tip.
To end this call, HawthornIce, now since you gave your very sound advice to beginners of the Shawi community, where can they find you? Where can they message you? Where can they watch you?
Oh, cool. So you can watch me at Twitch. My username is the same everywhere across Twitch and Twitter. It's just HawthornIce, HawthornIce. I stream most weeks, and yeah, I post some of my combos and little tips on Twitter as well. And I'm also in the LingNation Discord as well with Cilantro.
There you go. HawthornIce, thank you very much for this small talk that we have, and see you later.
So welcome. All right, bye, Cilantro.
Bye bye, HawthornIce. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I will be talking about what I call the rank color mindset. Now, if for example you ask me on Discord, wherever, most of the time I will ask, what is your rank? And that is not to, insult you or anything, but more of, I want to know your current mindset. each color has a different mindset. Okay? If, for example, you are telling me that you are a purple rank player, then I will give advice constructed for a purple player. If I am going to give advice to a red, I wouldn't say, okay, do this Okizeme stuff, do this after this. Not like that. It's more of what you should be learning in order to advance to the next rank. Now, I want to share this mentality of mine when it regards to rank because I can see other players saying things like, "Oh, I can't go to blue when they are in purple," or "I can't wait to be second king. How long will it take? I don't know what I'm doing wrong." And it's like, okay, you are purple right now, and you want to go to blue. That's good. You want to go from battle ruler to Fujin. But the thing is, if right now you are having a hard time with purple, you'll have a harder time in Fujin or blue ranks. So that means that you will get demoted again, right? As long as you can't maintain a color or you can't maintain a rank, you don't deserve that rank. I need to be frank with that. And I'm going to be frank with myself. I'm hard stuck with Tekken God. I can't go TGS, I can't go GOD. And I always tell myself that I don't deserve to be TGS. I still play bad fundamentally. I know Xiaoyu, but I know I'm not TGS. I keep getting demoted to Tekken Emperor, then promoting to Tekken God, and the cycle goes on. I'm hard stuck, basically. That means that's where I'm at. So, what do I need to do to go to Tekken God Supreme? What do I need to know? I need to learn matchups. I need to learn more block punishments. I need to think like a GOD or a TGS. So it's the same way with purple to blue. If you want to go to blue and maintain the blue, you need to think like a blue. As early as now, I want you to blame yourself, okay? I don't want you to go to Reddit. I don't want you to go to Discord and saying things like, Dragonov is keeping me from ranking up or anything like that. Every time you lose a round, blame yourself. Not the hard way, but the gentle way of blaming yourself. If, for example, I keep getting hit by QCF4, instead of saying, oh, Dragon of QCF4 needs to be nerfed or anything like that, that's valid, okay? But always tell yourself, you should have done this, or I could have done this better. Green, yellow, and orange. These are grouped up because this is your discovery phase. Now you will be naturally mashy in these ranks. Okay, so go easy on yourself, enjoy the mashing. Because after these colors, the real Tekken begins. I'm not saying that you don't need to learn stuff and mash your way out of these colors. You need to discover stuff. Okay, I'll give you an example. RDS 1 plus 2, 4, mid high. If the high is blocked, you'll be at plus 3. Now, if you are at the earlier segments, I taught about block punishment and I did show the starter frames. So at plus 3, your RDS 4, which is a 13 frame launcher, minus 3, because you have an advantage of plus 3, it will become 10 frames. If your opponent jabs, and the jab is like 10 frames, but they are at minus 3. So plus 3, their jab will become 13 frames. So that's kind of what you call a frame trap in a way. Now, again, if you know your starter frames and your plus and minus frames, you know what moves you are going to do after it. Let's say FF13. FF13 is minus 1 on block. Then you could go for F1 plus 2 because F1 plus 2 is a 12 frame move. Minus 1, so you're going to add 1 to that move. So that's going to be a 13 frame move. That's still a very fast move. So just experiment, know your blocks, know your on hits, know your counter hits. It will really help you. Okay? Now, another thing is you need to learn a combo for each launcher. Now, I have a launcher guide in the card above. So if you want to watch that, then please do. It will literally help you. Now, in these ranks, you're going to play so random, but as a beginner, you need to improve on stabilizing that randomness. Xiaoyu needs to be random with purpose. Okay? Now, let's say you get to red. Garyu, Shinryu, and Tenryu. Now, in these ranks, this is still kind of a mashy thing, right? A mashy state. But in this rank, in this color, you need to have better combos and a little bit of experimenting on what works for you. So, for example, DF3, the Snake Edge, works for you, right? Keep using that. Now, if it doesn't work anymore, then you can still do that, but modify it a little bit. Maybe you go for DF3B, which transitions you to RDS. Your combos can miss, your launchers can miss, your mix ups can miss. That's okay. But that's what you need to work on. Okay, so let's say forward, forward, four. It's a dash high or something like that. And it whiffs. Now find ways on how to make that hit, on counter, or on block. Don't be afraid to experiment in this state. This is the time wherein you will experiment on stronger combos, maybe a little bit of setup here and there, some punishes, some whiff punishes. So this is basically the start of you getting fundamentally correct. Okay, you know what block punishment is, you know what the moves will launch, you know the combos for each launch. Now, this is basically you preparing your toolkit. This is the time wherein you will discover what your Xiaoyu gameplay will be. Now, what you need to do here on purple is to improve what you already learned. Improve your combos, improve your block punishments, or anything that I said earlier. Now, once you improved on those, then you can go to blue. Now, the blue is where you will have this some sort of toolkit. It's not a flowchart, but it's like these are the tools that I have for my Xiaoyu. You have a certain set of mix-ups, you have a certain set of setups, you have a certain game plan, and this is the time wherein you will display what you know. All of the players in blue are like doing everything that they can in order to rank up. For example, a Raijin struggling to Kishin, that player will ask so many things to Discord channels, to Xiaoyu players, to other players as well, in order to rank up. That means I just want to get out of blue, I need to learn more. Now, what works on blue will not work on yellow or gold, whatever you want to call it. The gold ranks have knowledge on each matchup. And not everything on that certain matchup, but they kind of know what to do with them. So for example, maybe I came from Bushin to Second King, and I fought a Nina player that is a Tekken God or anything. I know some of it from my earlier ranks. Get what I mean? Like I said earlier, what works on blue, and let me say what works on the lower ranks, will not work in the gold ranks, and vice versa. What works on gold ranks will not work on the lower ranks. So, for example, you use DF3 a lot in blue, and it works, everyone falls for it. In gold, it won't work anymore. And that goes for any character. For example, a Hell Sweep from Kazuya works on the low ranks, but in the gold ranks, you tend to block more, you tend to duck more. This is a time wherein you will have reads. You will categorize a player on a certain playstyle. Now, this is where you study a lot. So, for example, this character transitions to this move. What can I do? What is the best move? If Lily did the low heat smash, what is the guaranteed move after that? That's how you get to gold, and that's how you can maintain the gold. Now, as a Xiaoyu player, you will learn so many wall okis, optimal combos, when to dance, when to parry, anything like that. That's how you go to gold, and that's how you maintain the gold rank. Now, for GOD, since I don't have any experience with being GOD, I can't say anything about it other than everything that I said earlier needs to be optimized. Not perfect, optimized. Now that's my concept of the rank color mindset. Let me know in the comments if I made sense or if for some reason this helps you a lot in the future. So my main advice for this segment is to just think like the upper rank that you want. If I want to be Tekken God Supreme, I need to think like that. If I am at Garyu and I want to be at least Fujin, which is like ranks ahead, I need to think like a purple first. Take your time about your rank. I know rank is frustrating, but it will be more frustrating if, for example, you get to a certain rank and you can't maintain it because you know to yourself that you don't deserve that rank. If you get demoted from like, I don't know, Flame Ruler to like Shinryu or something. Take your time, optimize your Xiaoyu, optimize your character, and optimize your gameplay. Okay, let's proceed. Now, in order to dive into this further, let's try to watch one match from each color. Red, purple, blue, gold, and pink. Okay? As you can see right now, it's very random. It's very much like this is what I'm doing. Let me try this, let me try that. Okay. Not doing any combos at all. Just familiarizing yourself with the moves.
Round 3. Fight.
Okay, he tried to punish that. Okay. He really wants to force a UB3. Okay. Very random. He's kind of flowcharty, which is wrong. Okay. He really wants UB3. I keep telling it, but he keeps doing it anyway. So, yeah.
Round 4. Fight.
Okay. UB3 again. UB3 again. Okay. No combos. See? So that's what I mean by you are just familiarizing your move set in this rank. And that's what happened with a red rank player. Now let's try to see a purple player. And in this stage, you are more experimental and finding out new things, but you have a familiar mindset with your move list. So let's see what will happen.
Round 1. Fight.
Okay, try to hold stock. See? This one knows transitions. Okay. There you go. He knows how to recharge his heat. Okay. There you go.
Round 2. Fight.
Nice whip punish. Missed combo, but that's fine. Okay, he knows his punishes. That's great. He knows what moves are hitting on ground. Okay.
Round 3. Fight.
Punish again. Okay. Trying to do some movement. That's a great risk, to be honest. It might be new to him that it can be a combo,
Round 4.
and he didn't convert it, and that's fine.
Fight.
Okay. Trying some launchers. So purple is actually a very experimental stage, both with what you're gonna do and with combos, basically. So personally, I won't go for the Rage Shard, but it dealt good damage anyway. Good use of resource. Okay, he knows he is in RDS, so he went for the RDS D3. Okay, we are going to the last round.
Final round. Fight.
Looking for that B1+2. There you go. Told ya. It's the combo color stage, basically. Okay, try to go to heat. This guy likes to burning throw. Oops. Okay, I think he got confused with B1+2 and F1+2. That's fine. So, as you can see, there's a big difference with purple and red. Now, let's try to find a blue one. Okay, now we're watching a
Round
Kishin one,
Fight.
which is blue. In this stage, you are having some techs, you are having some keep out moves. You're using more defensive stuff and save stuff, basically. Okay, so try to went for the poke. Try to go for the poke, I mean. Okay, push back. There you go. Whiff punish on point. See? This is the time when you will, or they, will be having some techs or setups of their own from other Xiaoyu players or something that they formulated themselves. Great punishment. Fortunate. As you can see, on blue, it's less smashy, but more safe. Okay.
Over here. It's over. Smash. Smash.
Okay. So you can see the difference, right? So now let's find a gold one.
Fight.
You guys really like the short-haired chap. Okay, hit confirms. Okay. Some movement. Okay, some setup or tech. We should kill. Okay, that's fine. There you go.
Round 2.
Let's go to the next round. Okay, some movement. Going in. +3. Goes back. Is this an F212? Oh, okay. We tried to do a setup. That's fine. Great wall combo.
Round 3. Fight.
He knows his transitions. He knows the F2 1-2 combo. Okay. Keep out. He knows stage gimmicks. He knows when to AOP. And that's it. That's the difference between those four colors, and it's very good to see the differences between those. Now let's try to watch a GOD Xiaoyu and see how different a pink Xiaoyu is to the rest of the ranks.
Round 1. Fight.
Okay. With the GOD Xiaoyu, your priority is the wall. There you go. Playing with the plus, delay the move, and use the heat dash to end the round.
Round 2. Fight.
Okay. Nice use of the power crush. Nice use of the stances. There you go. Using the stage. Oh, okay. That's an unfortunate whiff. If the opponent stands up a little bit earlier, he will get sweeped. Again? Heat! F2, 1, 2. Oh, okay. He went for a setup. That's fine. Okay. Angle, unfortunately. Okay, he tried to go for the heat smash. Backs away. Okay, let's see how he will have a comeback, if there are any. Great use of the Phoenix. Okay, use of plus from the while running 3. Dash. There you go. Okay, final round.
Fight.
Okay, use Power Crush. Tried to look for the counter hit, but he got a punish, and that's better. Okay. That setup was good. Okay. Great use of heat. There you go. So he got his comeback. So with the pink Xiaoyu, you are more of like, you know what to do with your heat, you know what to do with your moves, you know your options, you know your punishes. So it's basically things that are almost perfect that will make you a pink Xiaoyu, basically. Okay, so for the poke playstyle, avoiding the bills or ATB was supposed to have a call with me, but he can't make it due to personal reasons that I won't tell. So he instead gave me a document. Now I have my own way of explaining this, but I will share ATB's knowledge here in this segment, and then we'll go to my own definition of poking in the next segment. Okay? So let's read. Poking is a very important term you might come across for many different characters in the Tekken cast. Poking is, putting it simply, using particular moves from a character's move list to poke your opponent. Quick lows, long range highs, specific mids, these are all components to poke at your enemy. So an example of quick low would be D3, long range high would be RDS2 or something like that. And then we also have specific mids. Let's say we have FF3, we have RDS3, like that. Main goal with poking is simply to gauge where you and your opponent stand in terms of defense, slowly chipping at their health while simultaneously attempting to frustrate your opponent as well as motivate them to make unsafe decisions. Now, basically, what ATB said was you need to have a combination of your low pokes, your let's say long range highs, and then you go again to specific mids, and then you go back, and then we go with RDS3. If you can see your opponent, it's chipping down with a few attacks without any launchers, without any heat. So another thing that he said was Xiaoyu has a moveset that is designed for a lot of technical movement, evasion, and deception, as well as using various moves from AOP and Rain Dance, allowing her to adjust her attacks, range, and options. Poking is arguably very integral when learning this character, as she does not come with a lot of blaring heavy plus unblock attack moves outside of her heat. This being said, poking your opponent can make it easier for her to her game plan of evasion and punishment going. So basically, when ETB said that the AOP and RDS allows her to adjust her attacks, range, and options, this is kind of what he meant. So let's say I am in RDS. So I'm going to record this one. So if I want to poke my enemy, I need to know the range of my moves. So I have my RDS2, which is a poke from RDS, but as you can see, it won't reach the enemy. But if you know the ranges of her attacks, then you will know that RDS D3 can hit your opponent very far. Right? So for example, we are now at AOP. If I do AOP 4, this won't reach. But a lot of other moves can. Let's go with U4. Now let's go farther. Now let's try AOP U4 here. It won't reach. How about AOP 3? Since you know the range, you can discern if the opponent will reach it or not. Now again with AOP U4, let's see how far this move will go. That hit. Still hits. Doesn't hit anymore. But as you can see, the range is so far that you can hit your enemy even with that distance. Once you learn the range of your moves, you can implement a poking system for you that if, for example, I do F3, I am in this range, what moves will reach it? What moves don't? In this case, I think RDS2 will still reach, but your dick jab won't. Now let's try DF1. Let's try my dick jab. Now, basically, if you want to improve your poke playstyle, you need to learn the range of your attacks. Okay? I know this is the poke playstyle segment, but you need to learn the range of each attack that you have in your move list. Now, ATB also sent me his list of key pokes that you can try to use. So, I will show it to you first. The message said, in my honest opinion, Xiaoyu comes equipped with many tools to help poke at her opponents. In neutral, Xiaoyu has F2 or F2-1. F2-1, even if it's a mid-high, it will jail your opponent. That means that they can't duck the second hit. Next one is FF2. Basically, maybe you're like moving like this and then you go like that. But if you want to cancel it, then go for the back. Now this is hit confirmable only on counter hit. Next one is DB2. This is one of the greatest low pokes in the game. Puts you into RDS and it's, very fast, deals very good damage. Next is 1 down 2. You can go for the neutral by holding down. Just do the move and you'll go to RDS. Hold back if you want to go to Hypnotist. Next one is the F1. You can transition to RDS or not. Next one is F3. This one has a very good range. And she kind of steps a little bit. So you kind of have like an allowance and like a hidden range for that poke. If you want to, then you can also go for the F3-1, which will transition her to Rain Dance. Now, next is FF3. Very, very safe. You can go like this, and then you can see the distance on hit, right? This move can lead to a lot of potential whiffs, basically. So in AOP, he said to go for AOP 1. Continue this with AOP 1 2, AOP 1 4, or transition to Hypnotist. Now next one is 2. AOP 2, you can hit confirm this a little bit, but if you delay it too much, it won't be a natural combo anymore. So like that. Or you can go to Rain Dance by holding B. Next one is AOP U4. Very good range. You can go to a lot of states. You can go to AOP U4 while standing. AOP, full crouch, and then hold back to go to RDS. Next one would be F4, which is this one. This will lead you to AOP after 1, but if you do another 4, then it will lead you to the while standing state. Next one is AOP 4, very fast move, so it's considered as a poke. On Rain Dance, he said B3, which is like the fastest move in your RDS. It's very linear, but it's also a good poke if you know how to use it. Next is RDS2. You can go to just RDS2, it's very safe and block, it's 0. You can go to RDS21, RDS21B, RDS21, RDS214, which you can delay. And you can also go for RDS22, RDS221, which is a natural combo, RDS221 down. Sorry. There you go. Now, last one is RDS D3. Now, let's discuss about the main goal. He said the main goal with poking is simply to gauge where you and your opponent stands in terms of defense. He wants you to see what your enemy will do after, let's say, a poke. So, will they back away? Will they crouch? Will they dick jab? Will they sidestep or anything like that? Now, to demonstrate this, the enemy Xiaoyu will dick jab after I hit them with DF1. So if you can see, DF1 on hit will put me into +9. If, for example, we are at the game, you went out with DF1. Now what we will do is we will go for DF1 and then we will go with RDS2. The enemy dodged it with a dick jab. After a few more rounds or fights, the next time you do this, you go for your mid or faster moves. Now, since you're +9, let's try RDS4. The enemy got countered hit. That's because we did a mid, it didn't high crush, the dick jab came out at 20 frames, the RDS4 came out at 13, with a +9 advantage, that's 4 frames. Basically, you read the enemy on what they will do. Now, with the other part of the main goal, he said slowly chipping at their health while simultaneously attempting to frustrate your opponent as well as motivate them to make unsafe decisions. So we have a similar understanding of this one. So if you're watching this, ATB or Avoiding the Bills, thank you very much. Please follow him on Twitch. He's a very good Xiaoyu player, so you can ping him in Discord, follow him on Twitch, and see when he's live, okay? Let's go to the second part of this video. Now let's go for the poke playstyle. And the poke playstyle requires no combos, no anything, no big Tekken or anything like that. Now, what you can do with the poke playstyle is first know your strings. So for example, RDS 1 plus 2, 4, and RDS 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 are different, right? But if you choose to just do your RDS 1 plus 2, you can partner that up with a poke or another string that has 2 inputs with it. So for example, I would go for RDS 1 plus 2, then I would go for D3. I won't continue the D3 4. So I will do this, this. After the D3, I will be in the while standing state. So either I will go for AOP, I would go for a while standing move, or I will go for a full crouch move. So this is how it will look like. There you go. Now let's try another variation. There you go. One more. There you go. So all of those moves that I did has some sort of extension, right? So this one has this one has this one has this. So it's a matter of not finishing the string, basically. So if you do your FF3, which is like a raccoon swing, then you could go for your D3. Since the second hit is a high, you won't continue it because it won't be a natural combo if it's not a counter hit. So we go this, and then you can poke. Since the distance is so far, you can actually go for a sidestep 4 to continue poking, right? And then after the SS4, what will reach would be your full crouch 3, right? So it's a matter of not finishing anything if you want to poke playstyle. You can actually go for your 1, for a jab check, and then go for your TB2, which doesn't have a string extension, but you can go for your D3 again, and then customize your own pokes or anything like that. You can go for your D3, and then maybe you want a D1. It's up to you. I fought with an Azucena player, and in this round, I intentionally didn't went for any big Tekken like UB3 or anything like that. It's just plain poking. So what I want you to see is you can win in Tekken by just poking, and when you already have the life lead, the enemy will be kind of desperate. So that's when you will have the opportunity to punish a whiff. So let's watch this round.
2. Round 2. Fight.
Okay, poking. Didn't finish the string. Not finishing any string at all. Keep out. Then I saw a whiff. And it basically killed the enemy, right? So,
Fight.
so that's how you poke with Xiaoyu. Don't finish any string. Do what you need. If you need the low, then go for a low poke or anything like that. So let's move on to the next step. Now, what I suggest you do in practice is try to go for one move and see how you can poke the enemy again. So for example, I go for AOP U4. How can I poke the enemy more? Right? So for example, I go for this. So for example, okay, I sidestep and then some 2. And then D3. Go for this, go for that, and so on. Right? So another example would be I will poke with AOP DF4. I will make the AOP. Maybe I would like to poke it with some. Maybe I would like to poke it with some 4, or maybe this one, this. You get the point, right? So it's a matter of familiarizing yourself on what stance you will be after a certain move. Okay, so for example, I poke with a jab and then I went for maybe B2. I will win the RDS. So let's say I would like to go to while standing. I could go for my instant while standing or just do DB. Now after this, maybe I would like to go for DF4. So this, there we go. And keep out with AOP4 or anything like that. So try that in practice mode. Find your own style. There is no flowchart for Xiaoyu. I won't recommend any flowchart. You should be free on doing whatever you need to do in a fight. Okay? Now for the whiff punishment training, there's actually a lot of ways that you can do this. So I'm going to teach you how to do them. Okay? So first is knowing your whiff punishers. Okay? So first one would be your B1 plus 2. Let me turn that off. Next would be your UB3, which has a very large distance. Next would be your standing 3. With AOP, the best one would be UF3, AOP UF3. And for RDS, the fastest one would be RDS 4. So how do you exactly punish an enemy that whiffs. Okay, so what you do is record the enemy having a string. Okay, so defense. Let's go for 1 down to 1 plus 2. Record yourself in a distance like this, and then while the enemy is animating, you input one of those punishes, okay? Like that. Okay, so again, let's try that with one more. Like that. One more. There you go. So that's one way of improving your whiff punishes on neutral. Now on RDS, now I want you to be this far. Put yourself into RDS and then record again. And then try to move or dance or anything like that. And then try to catch the Xiaoyu by dodging that. So let me try to show it to you. There you go. So how you do this is by doing your movement, right? So there are a lot of ways in neutral. If you, for example, you go for your raccoon swing, then you could go for RDS B3 plus 4, which I personally don't use. And then you can partner that up with your DB. So what will happen is, there you go. One more. There you go. Now, whiffing with AUP is kind of trickier, like instantly. So I will record the June to do this. The thing is, this needs kind of some labbing. So when you know how to do this, you can actually just spam it in practice mode and then you'll have the muscle memory for it. So for example, June does this. We can actually use AUP to whiff the second hit. This doesn't work for every character, but there are a lot. So I have an AUP versus a specific character series in my channel, so it's still ongoing, but this is how it will look like if you want to whiff with AUP. There you go. You can lab this and find the strings that can be dodged with AOP, and then it will help you so much in a fight. Not just you mindlessly throwing this out with every move, okay? Now, if that whiffs, then again, your whiff punisher for that is your UF3, if you want to launch. There you go. In AOP, you can actually jump like this. And then, if the enemy is kind of desperate and rushing to you, you can hold your while standing to do that, or do... So for example, the Xiaoyu will do maybe FF4. So for example, in this distance, we will jump, and then the enemy Xiaoyu will be rushing us with some FF4, and we'll whiff it, and then we'll punish it. There you go. So that's another way of whiffing with AOP. But if you want to whiff with this one, then what you could do is lab it and see and set the enemy to wake up low kick. So try to do a combo, end it with F2, run up a little bit, and then do your B3 plus 4. It has a little bit of sidestep, so it kind of needs some practice. Now another one is knowing what moves that you will have some pushback with. So for example, I set the enemy to block all, and I could go for my DB1. You can see the distance. My 1-step hip 2, and then my 3-step hip 2. If they attack, then you can whiff confirm that and use your B1 plus 2, UB3, whatever you want. Now on hit, there are moves that give you a slight pushback. One of them would be DB4. So let's try going close to the enemy, like in this distance. I would go for D3. We are at 205. Let's try DB4. We are at 2.32. So that means that DB4 will give us so much distance from the enemy that if they try to mash, you can go on and do your whiff punishers, whatever you want. Okay? Now for stance mastery, what I want to talk about here is how you can go from stance to stance. Okay? So, this is not a dance guide or anything, but this is a practice for you to be able to know where you want to go. So, we have 5 states. We have the standing, the while standing, Phoenix, Hypnotist, and then your RDS, which is Rain Dance. So, from each stance, what I want you to try out is to go from stance to stance. We will consider front facing and while standing as a stance, okay? Now, let's try with RDS. If I want to go to AOP, what are the moves that will put me to AOP? I could go for RDS 2-2-1 down. I could go for UF1. I could go for DB and then D1 plus 2. Or I could just go for my D1 plus 2. Right? Now, after that, what are the moves that will maintain my RDS? What are the moves that will maintain my RDS position? We have RDS 1 plus 2, 4. We have 2. We have 2-2. We have RDS 3. We have the roll, Cali roll, and so much more. Right? How do we go from Hypnotist? We could go for RDS 2-1B. We could go for RDS DB FC 3-2-1B. Right? I want to go to front facing. I could go for D3, RDS D3. Let's go for RDS 1 plus 2, and so much more. What are the moves that will put me to while standing? I could go for DB. I could go for the UF1 cancel, which is UF1 down. I could go for instant while standing. Now let's try another one, okay? Let's say I am in AOP. What will put me to while standing? AOPU. AOP U4. AOP F44. And so much more. Now I want to say AOP. I could go for AOPD. AOP UF31. I could go for AOP U4D. Now I want to go to RDS. I could go for AOP 1-2. AOP 1-4. Or just B3 plus 4. Now, I want to go to Hypnotist. There's only one, which is AOP 1 back. So what I want you to try out is to go to practice mode, set it to block all, and then mash with purpose. And then just practice your stances. So for example, okay, after DF1, I want to go to Hypnotist. What do I do? There you go. I want to stay in RDS but still on plus. Okay, RDS 1 plus 2. You studied frames earlier, right? So you should know that this will give you plus 3, but you will still be in RDS. So, with that plus 3 advantage, what can you do with the stance? For example, your RDS 4 is 13 frames, so it will come out at 10 frames. So after you practice that, whatever you do in a fight, you know where you are going. So for example, a good way to see that is if FF4 whiffs, you will be in the standing. And you know that in game. Oh, I whiffed. So that's why I didn't go Hypnotist. So for another example, I would go for UF31 for AOP. And I know, and you know, that you will be in the AOP stance. So for example, I want to poke with AOP U4. Do I want to go to RDS? Do I want to go to while standing? Do I want to go to AOP again? What do you want? Now after a Cali roll, should I go for while standing? Should I go for AOP again? So after the roll, what should I do? Should I go to Hypnotist? If, for example, I have Heat, should I go like this? Should I go this? I'm in Hypnotist. What should I do? Things like that. You can experiment in the game, but I would like you to know what your purpose is for each stance transition. I showed you in the dance guide back then, you dance with purpose, not just mindlessly doing this and getting launched or anything like that. So that's how you master your stances. Now we will optimize your wall carry. So I will categorize this to 3 types to make it easy. The tailspin wall carries, the heat burst ones, and the regular wall carry. The tailspin looks like this. And our goal is to put the enemy at the wall, on the wall, whatever preposition you want. Now the first one would be standing 3. Let's record that. Now if you need a lingering wall carry that has a lot of range, then you could go for standing 3. If you need a high and fast wall carry, you could go for 1-2, but with a micro dash. See? Compare this one to this one. You can see the standing 3 lingers more. Now another one would be F2-1. This requires a micro dash, but it has the longest lingering effect. So that's why when I do this, it will hit the combo, right? Now let's try to shorten the combo. You can see the distance from my Xiaoyu to the enemy Xiaoyu. It lingers so far and it's slower than, let's say, 1-2. Now let's try to do the combo but with micro dash 1-2. It didn't reach the wall. Now let's try 3. It didn't reach the wall. Why is that? That's because F2-1 on its own gives you that really good range already. Partner that with the micro dash. Right? Now the next one is kind of risky and it's DF2-3. It offers a lot of distance out of all the wall carries, but it's kind of risky. So first, let's try to do the combo again earlier. It's a good wall carry, but if we shorten the combo more, you can see the distance and it became a low wall splat. So I don't recommend that. Even with seasoned players, it's too risky, but there are times that you kind of need to risk it in order to get the farthest wall carry that you need. So next one would be the heat burst wall carries. Now the first one is RDS 1-2. Now let's perform a single combo first. There you go. It's a good wall carry, but as you can see, it whiffed. So don't commit to RDS 1-2 if the angle is off, okay? So that's why when I do a combo and I go for this, I make sure that I am aligned properly with my enemy. So that's why you can see I sidestep a little bit sometimes, but you know, that's for realigning. Next one would be F2-1. As you can see, the enemy spent, right? In order to prevent that, then you need to sidestep in front of the legs of the enemy so that it will be a straight wall carry. See? It didn't reach, but it's still a good wall carry and it's a straight wall carry. Now, next one would be, again, micro dash 1-2. Fast, short, and sweet, but it didn't reach. It has a short range. So Next one would be F314. You kind of need to go near the enemy first before doing this. There you go. Now another one is F214, but it's kind of risky because sometimes you have too many moves, the third hit won't hit. So always realign yourself in front of the enemy before doing a heat burst or a wall carry. Now the last one would be the regular wall carries. It's actually all of those moves. Okay, so but I will demonstrate a little bit more unique ones. So let's go for RDS 1 plus 2 4. You could go for your AP 1 2. You could go for AOP 1 4. Now another one, if you have a short combo, then you could go for RDS 2 1 4. Like that. For the last one is basically just running. So let's try one combo, okay? DF3. Didn't reach, right? But let's try to run first. Then it reaches. Now with the combo optimization, I want to start with F212. Now I have two concepts. It's the wall splat and it's a low wall splat. I don't know the terms, so that's the best way that I could put it. So let's try one combo first, which is this one. What I'm going to teach you is how to discern if your F212 at the wall would be guaranteed or not. So I set the enemy to side Ukemi. This is how a low wall splat will look like. As you can see, the F212 is not guaranteed. Now I'll show you a good wall splat. See? It's guaranteed. And that's because the low wall splat will make your enemy wake up faster if they decide to Ukemi. So another indicator of a low wall splat is they go down very fast. So let's try that again so you can see. See? Now compare that to a good wall splat. See? It lingers slowly down. Now that's your indicator that your F212 will be guaranteed or not. If you see that the enemy has a low wall splat, then I would suggest go for the Hypnotist 3. So I'll show it to you. Like that. Because your F212 will whiff. Now another way to guarantee your F212 is if your enemy didn't hit the wall and you hit them with either a tornado or a heat burst. That's fine, as long as there are no wall hits. No wall hit, heat burst, guaranteed. Okay? If we combine this and the wall carry segment earlier, then you know how to wall carry and you know how to discern if it's a low wall splat or a good wall splat for your F212. Can you see that damage? That's what you get if you optimize your combos. If you optimize your wall carry, and if you optimize your game sense. If you don't have heat, then I recommend F21B Hypnotist 2 or 1 and DB1. Do this if you have a good wall splat. That's one. That's 2. Remember, if you hit the enemy with a heat burst on back turn, your F2 1-2 won't work. No matter what you do, okay? Don't do that. If the angle is off, then a good practice would be to go in front of your enemy's legs. While you are in heat, and you hit the enemy with a heat engager, don't use a heat dash because you are giving up so much damage. Compare that to this one. See? And you still have heat. You can still do RDS heat smash or whatever you want from the heat, right? Now for this one, I am going to teach you how to convert your combos when you have a float. So a float is something like this one when you're on the ground and you decided to wake up kick and then you float the enemy. Now after that, what you need to do is you have 2 options. You could either go for your F3-1 or your raccoon swing. So let's try with F3-1 first. See? Now the other one is FF3. Now on standing, maybe you float them with the while standing 2. If you go to RDS, then just go for RDS 2. That's the safest option, or RDS 1. That's RDS 2. Don't mind if it's not optimal or anything. It's better that you convert that float into a combo rather than nothing. Now I want you to optimize your UF4 down while standing 4 by keeping you calm. Okay, so let's say you have a combo. You have so much time to go to your enemy, sidestep a little bit, and then UF4. Okay? I want you to optimize that to make it guaranteed because you can see your opponent's health, right? If we do the same combo and we do it with a DF2-3 combo ender, let's assume that we don't have heat. It will deal just that damage. So that's for the UF4 combo optimization. Now that you know how to wall carry, how to optimize your F2-1-2, now it's time for the Okizeme guide. Now what happens after that? I will explain to you the logic behind that. Now I will suggest 3 follow-ups for this. First one is 3+4. Remember that you could go for 3+4 only, or you could go for AOP. Next one would be your UB4. Would be your Cali roll, but you need to be in RDS for this one, so don't cancel your RDS with F2-1-2. Now, what of the 3 options would be the best? If you want to limit the options of your enemy on wake up, use your UB4. You can see that they are facing down. That means that their wake up kick will look like this. See? It's slower. And if they are facing down, they can't spring kick. Now after the UB4, what you could do is go with Hypnotist 3 or Hypnotist 2, whatever you want. So after this, so let's set the enemy to side Ukami right. If they do that, let's try the other way. See? It followed your enemy. Now you can do the same thing with hip 2. Right? Now if you use your hip 2, then you could go for the kill with a heat dash. It didn't kill, but they are one poke away from dying. Now imagine that. You optimize your wall carry, you optimize your F2-1-2, and you know what to do with a good wall splat. You can kill your enemy in 2 launches. Now, when do you use 3+4? For me, I use 3+4 because it deals more damage. This one is 79 plus 19. This one, though, is 79 plus 21. That's 2 damage, and it's very important in terms of damage. I'm telling you that. So I go for that if I want to go for the most damage, and I want to be in a very fast recovery phase because this one recovers slower than this. So another one would be the Kali roll. That's also 21 damage, and after this, the popular one would be the RDS homing throw. And, you know, again, they're like one poke away. If, for example, I go for 3+4 and then I go to the AOP stance, your option would be AOP 1-4. I'll show you what I mean. So I had the Xiaoyu, I recorded the Xiaoyu doing a combo. And let's say I'll try to spring kick, okay? I got hit, and it's a tornado again. So let's say if I just stay on the ground, okay? I got hit because AOP 1-4 hits the ground. Let's say if I try to wake up low kick. See? It limits the actions of your opponent. But if your opponent actually times it, they can interrupt it. But can you see the mental stack and the exact time that you need to put in order for you to interrupt a Xiaoyu's Oki? Xiaoyu is a character with a lot of mental stacks and has good Oki in this game. The more you actually learn her and her Okis, you will actually be a better Xiaoyu player. Now, I won't be teaching setups here, but what I want to show you is the things that will improve your Oki more. Okay, we will keep the enemy at the ground. If you watched the moves showcased earlier, you know that some of the moves flip the enemy, right? Now let's go with SS4. Pancake. Let's go with UB4. Flip. Pancake. 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 So while your enemy is at the floor, you can play on how the enemy wakes up, if you know the moves that do that, right? So if, for example, in the video earlier, I showed you F4-4 will flip your enemy here, they can actually spring kick now. But if we flip them with 1, they can't spring kick. If we flip them with 2, they can't spring kick anymore again. Now this is how you manipulate how your enemy wakes up on the wall. Now I will teach you how to make your own setup. Like I said, I won't be sharing any setups, so this is how we do it. Now you have 3 choices First are the moves that will put your enemy grounded. Could be FF1D, 3+4 down, U4, down 1+2, whatever you want, as long as they will keep the enemy on the ground. Number 2 are angle manipulating moves, and that could be your F2, for example. Now, the last one are the moves that will allow you delayed stuff. Okay, so I'll show it to you one by one what I mean. So first is, let's say you want this combo and you want this. Now let's set the enemy to spring attack. This is how you test it. You got hit by the spring kick, right? So you want to counter that, or you want to make the enemy think that, hey, I can spring kick her or him. So what you do is you set up a counter for that. Now let's say we go for AOP 1+2. See? It tornadoed your enemy. You basically countered the spring kick with your setup. Now let's try if the enemy will side roll. It didn't hit, but as you can see, you're still safe. So basically you test stuff on what you can do after it. So let's say it's just a simple stand-up. You could do that, right? So, or what you could do, okay, maybe I want to RDS throw or something. Right? So this is how you actually customize your own Xiaoyu in-game. So that's the one with the ground. Now let's try with an angle manipulating move, which is F2. So as you can see, the enemy is now at the side when they land on the ground. So that means that they can't spring kick. So for example, we set the enemy to Ukemi and we manipulate the angle, and so they will have the thought that, okay, it's safe to Ukemi, it's safe to press 1 or 2. So let's try that. See, they are down again. And you can actually go for another launch or combo after that. So last one are the moves that will allow you to have some sort of delay. So this can be done with a tornado or a heat burst. So I'll just show the heat burst. Right? So it's basically you testing out stuff by either ending a combo or not ending a combo. Whatever you do in a game, whenever you do a combo, you can actually find ways to reset that. The more that you lab Xiaoyu, the more that you experiment on stuff. What could I do with this? How can I relaunch the enemy again? So can I relaunch the enemy if I do this? If I dash in and I go DF3? Some things like that. So that's why every Xiaoyu is different, and I want yours to be different as well. So I won't be sharing any setup. So I hope that you will formulate your own setup. I always tell this to a Xiaoyu player in Discord. Your Xiaoyu shouldn't be a mixture or a collection of Xiaoyu techs. If you don't know what you're doing, don't use setups. I'm very serious about that. But if you know what is happening, what is the logic behind this setup, then do it. But what I don't want you to do is to forever rely on them. Okay? Now, if you optimized your wall carry, your F2-1-2, and your Oki setups, and your Oki game, this is how your rounds will look like.
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight! Round 1. Fight! Round 2. Fight! Round 3. Fight!
So finally, you are at the end of the road. Ironically, this is not the end of your training. You still have lots to learn. I still have lots to learn. But I hope this video will now allow you to enjoy Xiaoyu on how she is supposed to be played. And even if our community is being faced with bashing, hate mails, I hope that you continue to be kind to those players. Just focus on improving, focus on helping other Xiaoyu players as well. So that's it, and see you in the next video.